bet you any money that Charles is this nigga's father, bro.
Fine. Sacrifice? Don't you talk to me about sacrifice, Charles. I had to send my son back to the island, knowing full well that...
That's my son too, Eloise.
Just cut his dick off. That's what I would have done. Shit, if I was Norman...
Tu sei una carteggiani?
Se volete ricerà così.
Io pensavo che mio figlio se ne fotteva. Federico prima. Tu sei più buono col gioco mio.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. It's your boy Terabyt Reacts here, back with another reaction to MADMEN. Now, I've been sick for like the last for the last 2 weeks, going on 3 now, and now alongside my back hurting, I have caught a cold. Yeah, sure, but I know I don't really sound like it right now, but if I'm coughing or anything like that on the recording, please understand. Yeah, so for some reason, I don't know, it's like a double whammy right now, because if I cough, my back hurts. It's stuff, and I gotta get stuff done. So anyways, we're gonna jump into these reactions, man. MADMEN season 3 going strong. We're close to the end. I believe we're close to the end. I think we're like episode 11, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure where we're at. As I said, this show is very episodic, so it's hard to keep track where you are most of the time, because it's not like it's a continuous story, but it's more about the characters more than anything, right? So we're gonna jump into these episodes. If you want to see more MADMEN, pretty sure by the time you're watching this episode on YouTube, but we are further way ahead on Patreon, maybe even close to finishing up the show. Make sure you go check that out. Appreciate y'all. Let's jump into the reaction. Now we'll see you guys right after for the review.
Didn't you hear me? The luggage.
I'll go get it.
That's not the point. They don't listen. Say goodbye to your father, then get the bags.
Ooh. They have wars in Philly, too. Swing by the bank. Should be at least 200 in your checking. It's plenty.
You have no more money.
Take care.
Why are women like this? The thing about it is this, you know, you guys can argue all you want and say, oh, I'm living in the 50s and the 60s and things have changed so much. You know what's funny about that statement is that things have changed. Things have changed. But there are certain things about humans. There are certain things about humans that just never change. Women are like this. I mean, maybe not in that exact same scenario, but women are exactly like, they will find something out that you're probably hiding from them. It could be, for God knows, you could be saving that money to get her something, and you don't want to keep the money in the bank. And she finds that out. And instead of confronting Don about the entire situation, about him pretending to be Don Draper, and also the money that she found there, she's like throwing slights. Like, bro, I mean, he didn't answer, so he didn't lie. You just asked the question. He told you there's plenty of money in the bank. Swing by the bank and get the money. This could be money for something else. You get what I'm saying? And instead of saying, what about the money that's in the drawer in your office, right? Now you're playing games. Yeah, those
All the
two
lights were on. I
different.
figured you'd be home.
I knew you were coming over, and it might be dark when I got home, and I didn't want the McKays to see you turning on the lights.
Hot pepper.
Yes. I had it like that in Little Italy. Oh, I love that place. Believe it or not, I get treated very well there.
It's not like
I know.
Dawn, I swear I'm not talking about our future. I entered into this with my eyes open.
I pushed you.
Here we are. And I look at your life. And even if I remove myself from the picture, I see a man who is not happy.
I'm happy now. What?
Why did I decide to leave
okay,
surgery?
that was weird.
These last few months have been difficult. But I found a reserve of strength in myself I didn't know I had, and I realized there are other ways to heal people besides cutting them open.
What experience have you had with psychiatry?
That's kind of personal.
Craig, remember what Steve said. This is a field about the most intimate details in life. Okay, now I'm curious why you won't answer the question. What is your experience with psychiatry?
Well, none personally, but my dad had a nervous breakdown. I had Shrinker got him through, but we weren't allowed to talk about it.
Craig, that's wonderful.
There's a lot of things, Joni.
No. Answer like that. This is a talking profession. The way you just were with me right now, so open, he's gonna love you. You're funny, you're great to be around, but you haven't decided if they're the right one.
This isn't a beauty pageant.
Well, I've seen executives crash and burn.
I just wanted more than I thought I would want.
Of course. That's how it always has. That's how it always is.
Just let it go.
I'll clear my schedule. We can go to Mystic or something for the rest of the week.
Mystic?
I guess you got some women that
Maybe
are
someplace
cool
very
with being the side chick.
I am.
But after a while, they always end up in this very position, wanting more.
I'm sorry I missed the funeral. My grandson was graduating.
It was beautiful.
Judy fixed lunch. We don't have to talk right away.
I don't have a lot of time.
Betty wants to know what the house is worth.
I'm a lawyer. I'm not a real estate agent.
Well, the house was left to both of us, and I don't understand why I shouldn't be able to buy it away from her, double what Dad paid for it.
They bought it in the late 20s.
Your father intended you to get as much money for it as you could if you were going to sell it. Otherwise, somebody has to buy somebody out.
So basically, Dad gave it to Betty because he knew I didn't have any money. This is ugly. You know that?
Yeah, I talked about this. I think it was in the last episode where I was, why are you trying to sell the house? Just give it to your brother. Like, this is so mean-spirited, dude. Like, just let him have the house. If, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, somebody got to buy somebody out. He gave it to both of them. Both of them, like, it's a 50-50 split, right? But he can't buy her out because she wants something out of it. She doesn't have to want anything out of it. You already have a house living in. Big-ass house that you're living in. Well, it's not a freaking palace or anything like that. But it's still, back in the day, that's a nice house that she's living in, man. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure if she cry about upgrading or getting a bigger house, Don would let it happen. I'm pretty sure if she did, Don would let it happen. Right? He wouldn't even complain because he got the money to do it. Right? But other than that, like, this is so mean-spirited. And these are the parts of Betty that I just do not like. These are the parts of her that I can't understand why she won't just give her brother the house. Just give him the house. You don't need a house. You don't need a house. You don't need the money. Just give him the just let him have the house.
I need your advice. I need complete confidentiality. It's my husband. I just found out some compromising facts. Well, it's not even his real name, and he bought her house, his ex-wife. I need to know what to do.
What do you want to do? You want a divorce? New York State, you need to prove adultery. Can you?
Maybe.
I mean, prove it in a court of
Maybe.
law. That's hard to do. Unless he wants out, but you're not going to get anything. You won't even be able to buy William out of the house. You'll have to sell it. And he can take the children.
Boom.
Are
Let's
you
see what
afraid
he's
of him?
saying.
No.
Is he a good provider?
Well, he is, but that's not the point. It's a lie so big, Milton.
Instead of talking to Don, instead of talking to your husband that you found this out about, you choose to go talk to a lawyer first to see if you can get out of the situation and divorce him. Well, he laid it out for you. You ain't gonna get jack doodoo because he's the main provider. He's gonna get the kids. You know what about it? You know what the main thing about it is this, right? Apparently, it seems like the laws have changed because nowadays that's not happening. Nowadays, she's getting half. You know what I'm saying? She's getting the beach house. You know what I'm saying? She's getting all that, and she getting the kids. Things were different back in the day. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that back in the 60s, things were a little bit different on how custody work and stuff like that. But those laws have definitely turned in the face, turned in the favor, not the face, turned in the favor of women um, over the years for sure. Um, in this situation, if she chooses to divorce, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think this is something that she should get divorced over, but that's just me. Other people might think otherwise. I don't think this is something she needs to get. She needs to talk to Don about this so Don can explain what happened. But then again, you know what I'm saying? You could chalk it up to, oh, Don is a liar. He's this, he's that, or whatever. It's going to be hard to believe him about anything he said because this whole thing, this life that he's been living is a lie. Right? And building his life. Actually, Don has never been married before. Dick Whitman has not been married before, right? The person. It's just that I thought she put two and two together about the whole Dick Whitman thing. That he's actually Dick Whitman and not Don Draper. Don Draper is the one that has been married before, right? And the reason why he bought her a house was essentially because he felt guilty because she's the only one that knows the secret. The ex-wife of the actual Don Draper that died in the war is the only one that she's the only one that knows the secret. So he bought her a house. They're good friends because she's forgiven him and stuff like that. I'm actually surprised. I mean, she's a little bit older than that. She's a very nice lady. I thought he would have, probably ended up with her or something. Their interaction was great in my opinion. So the divorce gave her something. So I think that Don could explain that to her, maybe even bring the lady into the picture. But instead of doing that, Betty is seeking legal advice of how to go about this. Now, let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something. I'm a person like this, like, especially in my relationships, I try to be as open as possible. I am a transparent as it comes. I try to be as upfront about things as much as possible because I realize from past relationships what have happened is that when you're not that way and and your partner finds out something about you, and if they got to confront you about it, most of the time you are not the person that they come to first. They go talk to their parents, their mom, their dad, siblings, whatever, before they even talk to you, right? So, for that very reason, I try to be transparent as possible in my current relationship because it's like you're not going to find out anything about me you get what I'm trying to say. If it's something that you have to know about, that it concerns you, then you're going to know about it. I'm going to talk to you about it. With other things, like when you're talking about finances and stuff like that, in my opinion, I decide, because I'm the one that controls that. I decide, if it's something that's concerning that you need to be involved, then I will tell you about it, right? Because if I'm going to be the man that provides, that take care of you, that make sure all the bills are paid, that make sure these things are done and in place so you can live comfortable and just take care of the home, I don't think you need to know about that. But if there's a dire situation, say for instance, I lose a shit ton of money doing some investments or something like that, and we're in a bad spot, right? Which I don't think will ever happen for the rest of my life. But if a situation like that should arise, right, then I can bring you in and tell you about that, right? I don't seek investment advice. I don't seek money advice from my significant other. I do not, because you're not a financial expert. You're not a person who knows anything about investment. Now, if you were if I think that it would differ if she was a person that went to school for business, or she had a degree in business or something like that of the sort. I can see why I would kind of like take her advice on certain things, and you get what I'm saying. Like it would make sense. But if you're not a person who have zero experience in that area and stuff like that, don't tell me that I need to involve her in that stuff. And this is what I'm saying about Betty. Betty, she has a pretty cushy life, in my opinion. In the way how she lives, the way how she's taken care of, she can do whatever she wants, pretty much, right? It sucks that she has a husband that cheats on her. Don't get me wrong. It sucks that I've talked about this in earlier seasons with her about, there's no way I could have a woman like Betty taking care of the home. I would do everything in my power to make her happy, including not cheating, and to keep her happy, right? And this is not about happy wife, happy life. This is about happy spouse, happy house. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy, you're happy, right? So at the end of the day, it's what I think she's doing here, and I'm calling out all the wrongdoings that I see in the show, whether they be men or women. But the funny thing about it is that when I talk about the women, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of comments come in, oh, Betty this and Betty that, right? A lot of comments will come in saying that Betty is this. Why am I talking about like I'm living in the 50s and 60s? When I talk about the men cheating and talk about how it's wrong, it's crickets. Nobody has nothing to say, because anytime you criticize men, nobody cares. Nobody cares. We just accept it. Talk about the women, oh, hell breaks loose. It's insane.
At least go home. Give it a try.
Talk to your
That's what I
husband.
tell my own daughter.
How'd it go?
I screwed up all my answers, and I tried to talk about the articles, but I couldn't remember anything. Made a fool out of myself.
Interviews?
I don't want them. I don't want to be a psychiatrist. It's not medicine. Might as well work at a bank.
I don't care what you do as long as you do something. Maybe it's time to move on.
You don't know. You don't know what it's like to want something your whole life and to plan for it and to count on it and not get it, okay?
You be like a good husband instead of a bum.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
I think it's about 4 hours to Norwich, but the Norwich Inn might be a little past it. and we can check until midnight. We'll be fine.
That happens sometimes.
I'll be right out.
You know?
Daddy?
I'll be right back, Salamander.
Daddy!
Upstairs.
They weren't supposed to be home.
You're home early. What did William do now?
It's weird. Hopefully she doesn't, like, think he's taking too long and, like, walk into the house or some shit. This is good.
Open the drawer, or I will.
Why is she making this so dramatic? Just open the damn drawer and show him that you know what's in there. She made copies.
You left them in the pocket of your bathrobe. But I could have had a locksmith in here anytime I wanted. I've respected your privacy too long. Open it. You know I know what's in there.
You didn't have to look at my things.
Which things, Don? The pictures covered with other people's names. Is that you? Dick? Is that your name? I did. I took your name. And so did this Anna woman, whoever she is.
Dude, would you just tell her? Just tell her the truth. Like, just tell her the truth.
I need a drink.
It's not the easiest thing for him to talk about. I hope he doesn't forget that there's a woman sitting in your car outside, sir. I don't
Are you
think
thinking
these...
of what to say, or are you just looking at that door?
I'm not going anywhere.
She found out, man. Just level with her. You know what I'm saying? Just tell her what happened in the war. Blah, blah, blah.
You bought her a house.
Where do you want me to start?
From the beginning would be nice.
What's your name?
Donald Draper. It used to be Dick Whitman.
Who's that woman? Your other wife.
It wasn't romantic. There was an accident. And this guy was killed and I was injured. And all I had to do was be him and I could leave Korea.
Be who?
Don Draper.
Donald Draper.
You took his name. Isn't that against the law?
It is against the law.
Yes. Then to start over. And it turned out he was married to that woman, so I took care of her.
You divorced her on Valentine's Day, 1953. 3 months before we got married. Why didn't you tell me?
On our wedding night?
Yeah.
Why did you need to know?
You don't get to ask any questions.
The point is that now you know, Betty. And it's like, and I think that this is something that he should have figured out a way to bring up at some point. You know, because, you know what I'm saying, a lot of things that are done in the dark always comes to the light. I don't like to say all things done in the dark always comes to light. People tend to want to say all. Not everything that's done in the dark comes to light. Okay, you could go your whole life carrying a secret that nobody knows about. Okay, because the secret is just with you, and if you don't decide to tell anybody, it's just a secret that you have. So the situation is, what I'm looking at is, he should have figured out a way to tell her at some point. But in all retrospect and taking everything into consideration as well, is this something that Betty needed to know? Yes. I think to protect him, yes, I think it's something that she needed to know. But I don't think it's something that should impact them that much. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think this is something. If you don't go and tell anybody, nobody's gonna know. So if nobody, if you know what I'm saying, like the only people that know, I think Pete knows. Pete. So now it's gonna be Pete and Betty, and I guess you could say Cooper too. I guess you could say Cooper knows, but Cooper kind of doesn't give a shit. So it is what it is. But in terms of the correct way to do this, you know, she's like, it would have changed everything a lot. Because the thing about it is this: if Betty had knew, like, if he had came to her and told her this before he got married to her, right? She would have went and blabbed to her father, and her father would have even be more adamant about her not marrying him. So, you know, maybe they wouldn't have gotten married, maybe they wouldn't have had kids. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a moot point at this point. You know what I'm saying?
All this time I thought you were some football hero who hated his father.
Oh, all that
I
stuff
knew
is
you were
true.
poor. I knew you were ashamed of it. I see how you are with money. You don't understand it. Did you see her when you were in California?
I did.
As she said that.
What would you do if you were me? Would you love you?
I was surprised that you ever loved me.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
You
You
probably,
obviously wanted me to know this, or you wouldn't have left your keys. You wouldn't have kept all this in my house. Say something.
I didn't think I had a choice. This is our house. Those are our children.
Well, there's a big difference. You lied to me every day. I don't know who you are.
this is some complete bullshit, man. This is the kind of stuff that is just like, how do you go from we're at level 5, just takes it to the complete extreme just out of the blue like that. I hate when people do this. I hate to talk to people about one thing and they're just taking it blow it out of proportion. Oh, you do this one thing now. You've been lying to me every day. How? How do you get to this point where you think that I've been lying to you every day? Because, I mean, now you know the truth. I get where she's coming from, but the whole I can't trust you, I don't know who you are kind of thing. Like, what do you think I've been doing? You know, that's the question, is like, what do you think I've been doing all these years? You know, what do you think I've been doing all these years? You know, since I've all of a sudden, now that you know this information, I'm just this horrible person now, right? I'm just this horrible person now. It's just like, my question to you would like, do you want a divorce? Is that what you want me to tell you? Because you're asking me what you should do in you know, what you should do if I was in your position right now. What do you think I should do? Like, I would ask you the question, like, do you want a divorce? Is that, since we're dealing with extremes, right? Is that what you want? Unless Betty is trying to leverage this information now to get something out of Divorce and Dawn, which I think is what she's trying to do here, right? It's the only thing I can think of that she's trying to do in this position right now, is basically leverage what she knows about him to get a divorce from him and to get the kids and to not let him fight for any of that stuff. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, let's just get a clean divorce. I get the kids. I get half of your shit, right? And I can go live my life. I think maybe that's what she's trying to do. But either way, I don't think this is something that should end the marriage. I don't think so. Because he told her what happened. You know what happened. And instead of understanding what happened and why he had to do what he did, I guess you could say it's compounded as well. I guess you could say everything that has been happening has been compounded and it's just she's fed up. I understand.
We're not done.
Now she's acting like she's mothering him. And that's one of the things I wouldn't sit there and stand for. It's just like, listen, one of the things that I don't do, I like, if I'm caught doing something, I don't act like a pitiful child. That's me. Like, one thing you're not going to do is talk down to me. I don't care what you think you know or how you may be thinking because of whatever it is that you caught me in or whatever. I'm not going to act like a pitiful child. You're not going to talk to me any old how. I'm still a human being. I'm still an adult, and you respect me as such. So at the end of the day, yes, you may have caught me doing something, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, I'm not going to beg you. Do what you need to do.
What happened to them?
They're all dead.
Little boy in all the pictures. I assume he's your brother.
He was my half-brother. And he died.
And he didn't have to. You're the reason, Nan.
He didn't even want help. He just wanted to be part of my life. He hung himself.
I am.
You don't look sorry. You just...
And it was so easy, Joni. The answer was right in front of me.
What did you do?
I joined the army, Joni.
Holy shit.
You're gonna be taken care of. We're gonna be taken care of.
Yeah, but you're gonna be gone.
I know. I should have asked you, but I'll do 6 weeks of basic training. That's it. I'll do my residency in New York. I'll go in as a captain. You know what that means? You don't have to work anymore. It will make me happy to give you everything.
It's a good decision, but probably should have discussed that with Joan first. It's a big decision. You know what I mean? He completely forgot about her, bro. I don't know how she's gonna handle this because I don't think she's gonna stay with him.
I'll see you tonight.
I don't think so.
I was running all morning.
How about last night?
What happened? Did you get caught?
It's more complicated than that. Only you would ask about me right now.
Do I have to worry about my job?
No.
I should go. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Suzanne.
Damn, bro. Oh man, I think I've spoken enough. I'm not gonna do a long review here. This episode was great. It was great. Finally saw Betty confronting Don about something and have legitimate proof that is happening this time. So there's no doubt about it. I just think that holding frame is really important when you're a guy, when you're a man, right? Holding frame is really important, man. And you may look down on it, you may look at it and say, It's not that important, especially if you get caught doing something. I think you should still hold frame in those situations as well. Because one thing I'm not going to do is make myself look weak in front of a woman. I just don't do that shit anymore. I just don't do it anymore. Maybe it's because of my past experience, why I'm like the way I am right now. But I just feel like when men cower in front of women because they did something, it's just like, own it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Own it, apologize, and move forward. You don't need to, you know what I'm saying? If it's a situation where, you know, you have to cry, or you're telling a story because it's like a, you know, something that happened that caused you to do something, blah, 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 and you have to cry, cool, cry your tears, hold frame. There's nothing wrong with that. Crying is not a sign of weakness, so I don't mind shedding a few tears if it's a heartfelt thing. You get what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with crying tears, right? As if you can cry something else. I don't know why I said crying tears, but right? So there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is just looking so like that. Like, dude, in a situation like this, it's not like Don, as he has committed a crime, but it's not a crime, as I've talked about before. It's not really a crime that I feel like should be punishable. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a crime that, I don't know how many years, like, for impersonating somebody else which is dead, like what's the stats on that? I'm pretty sure not many people do that, but for the reasons that Don has done it, right? For the reasons that Don have done it, which I don't think would matter, still broke the law, right? But for the reasons that he did it, I don't think it should be something that you're spending like years in prison for. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you know, but if you're doing it for nefarious reasons, like you're pretending to be somebody that's dead or something like that, and you're doing all of these bad things while wearing their name and stuff like that, that's definitely wrong and definitely should be punishable, right? But I think for the reasons that Don did it, obviously was a young dude afraid of being in the war, and they made the mistake. They thought he was Don and he just went with it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. If I was in that situation, I probably would have done the same thing. I'm just keeping it a buck though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a buck because at the end of the day, it was not an ideal situation that he was in. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and stolen valor, in my opinion, I don't think this would be considered stolen valor, but you guys can chime in and let me know if you think it's like stolen valor, because I think the thing about it is that stolen valor is essentially pretending to be like a police officer, or pretending to be like you were in the army or something like that, when you didn't. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what they call stolen valor. Or I don't know if stolen valor, I don't know if stolen valor is like if you assume somebody's identity in the army. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if stolen valor goes that far. I don't know. But you guys can let me know. Maybe you have a little bit more experience. I'm not gonna say something that I don't know that much about. But every time I've ever heard somebody speak about stolen valor, it was always, you know, something having to do with like a normal citizen impersonating like a police officer, like somebody that's in the army, you know, Marines or whatever the situation is. It's always something like that. So I don't know if maybe it's have a different meaning. I don't know exactly, but I don't know. You guys can educate me a little bit about that, because I'm not going to spend too much time here. But great episode, man, overall. Glad to see Mr. Sterling out here breaking, you know, get back at one of his exes and turned her down because she broke his heart. And understandable, man. I've been there. But oof, it was a tough situation. So hopefully nothing that I said here will get anybody upset, but I know it will. So in any case, say what you will. The comment section is yours. Leave a like, leave a comment. I'm out.